Hi, I'm Claudia, and welcome to the Build Now podcast. We're here sharing powerful stories of families and kids facing incredible challenges, giving you the chance to meet the amazing individuals that you're supporting and hear their stories firsthand. In each episode, we have heartfelt conversations discussing real and raw experiences and show you the true impact of your generosity. Our goal is really simple: to inspire hope, raise awareness, and keep building a brighter future for those who need it most. And today we have Kelsey on the podcast.
Hi,
Thank you so much for joining us, Kelsey. We really appreciate you being here today and willing to share your story with us.
Of course.
So much.
Yeah.
I know that your story with your beautiful daughter, Delphi, is actually one that's really powerful and incredibly unique as well. Delphi was living a normal childhood until a diagnosis really changed everything, and life took a very unexpected turn for her and your family. So if you could just start by giving listeners a bit of an insight to your situation. Could you take us back to the beginning, tell us a little bit about Delphi and how it all sort of started?
Yeah, well, I mean, Delphi was 9 when she was diagnosed, and my husband and I and our son Tasman, who's now 14, so he was about 12 when this all happened, we called ourselves in the golden bubble. We were just really happy. Life was good. You know, we just lived really well. We were all healthy, very athletic, did lots of activities. And, you know, Delphi was my little sidekick, you know. She's just my little mini-me, everyone would say, because she looked exactly like me. And she, over about a period of about 6 weeks, she was complaining of headaches and she was occasionally throwing up. And we went to 3 different doctors. Just, you know, of course we went to just a normal GP and they said, oh, she's fine, because she appeared fine. You know, she's probably just got a stomach bug, you know, all that, you know, as parents, you see it a million times with kids, they get bugs.
And you never think the worst at that point.
Of course you
think
don't.
she's got the flu or she's just a little bit unwell under the weather.
Yeah, and so and it would come and go as well. So it came for a week and then left for a week, and then it would come back again. And so we'd go to a different doctor, or we had a doctor come to home actually because she just had this terrible headache, and it was late on a Saturday night. And then when it went and came back again, we knew, right, something's not right here. So we went to a different doctor again and insisted, no, we want you to push a bit further. And they did scans of her stomach, and they all came back clear, because she was starting to throw up quite regularly, but the headaches had gone. Right. And then as we were waiting for those results, Delphi kept covering up one eye. I saw her at a desk one day. She was quite fine. She'd been eating and dancing around and cartwheeling. She seemed pretty normal.
Energy at levels were normal.
Yeah, she seemed fine, so I wasn't too worried. But she was sitting at her desk and she was covering one eye while she was writing. And I said, Delph, why are you doing that? And she said, oh, I can't see out of this eye. You know, like kids, they just don't even think to... And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, oh, yeah, this eye goes double on me, so I'm just covering it up so I can see what I'm doing. And straight away I got onto the phone to the optometrist and made a booking for the next day, because you're still not thinking the worst.
Of course not.
And it ended up that my husband took her for whatever reason, and my husband rang me the next day from the optometrist and said, we're going straight to PCH. The optometrist can see a swelling behind Delphi's eye of her optical nerves and has just said, go straight to PCH right now. And I was at work and received the phone call, still not thinking the worst, really, not really.
Probably just thinking they're doctors, being doctors, taking the most, biggest precautions that they could.
Yeah, and still quite hopeful, like, okay, you know, we're finally getting to the bottom of this. You know, maybe it's linked to the, you know, not even really, I don't know, you're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And but, yeah, it became apparent within hours that she was very, very unwell. And when she arrived at PCH, within hours, she was being operated on to relieve the pressure in her brain. So a tumour had grown in her brain stem, and it had stopped the spinal fluid, which normally circulates all around your body. This is called the CSF fluid, and it flows up and down your spine. It's all through our bodies. It's this magical fluid.
Linked.
Yeah. goes all around our bodies, and it was stuck because of the tumour. It wasn't getting through, and then sometimes it would get through, and so no wonder she was having these headaches and the swelling. And she was just, moments off probably a huge seizure.
Wow.
So, yeah, my husband rang me to tell me that Delphi had a brain tumour, and he was crying on the phone.
And what was going through your mind in that moment? Like, what were your first reactions?
I dropped to the floor. I was standing in the kitchen, and I just fell to the floor. I just and then it was just, I think you go into some kind of strange shock kind of process where you just, it's almost hard to remember. I think I've blocked some of it out. It's like, I know I dropped to the floor. My son was just getting home from school.
It's like your world stops and it becomes a movie. Yeah. It's like, is this a movie now?
It's very surreal, yeah.
Surreal experience.
I rang a few people because people have told me that I rang them, and I don't remember ringing them.
Yeah.
I think I was just in utter shock. I was in shock.
Yes.
I told Tasman, my beautiful son, and he's such a calm, awesome kid.
How did he react?
He's just started screaming and punching.
Yeah.
I told him in the car, because I just got him in the car, because I had to get to the hospital. I said, Taz, just get in the car. We got in the car and I told him, and he just started kicking and punching and just saying, no. He was devastated. We just drove to the hospital together crying. And we didn't really know everything then. Like Brendan had said, because I'd said to Brendan on the phone, what does that mean? He said, I don't know. That's all we know yet. We don't know. All they knew was that there was a tumour and they had to release this pressure so that Delphi could continue without, something awful happening. So we made it to hospital and we were all together.
And how long were you then? How long was she in hospital for?
So from the point she went into hospital, we didn't leave for 6 months.
6
months straight. Didn't leave. Yeah, there wasn't one of us adults there.
With her.
So for the first 3 days, she had to have this drain on her brain, and it was really obvious then. It was because her eye started to sort of droop down. Right as of then,
you noticed the physical changes.
You could start to see this physical change. And so they took the pressure off her brain, and for 3 days she had this drain, and then her big surgery was scheduled. And so it was just a whirlwind of seeing a lot of doctors and specialists and physicians and social workers and, nurses. It's like everything stops and a whole community just step in and look after you. We were surrounded by a community literally holding us and pointing us in this direction or that direction or putting things in front of us. It's just such a almighty thing.
Yeah.
And so those 3 days, there were just hundreds of presents and cards and things coming for Delphi, and everyone was just praying for her and hoping that, it was going to be a good outcome because it was a tumour on her brainstem.
Yeah.
Right on her brainstem. And they did tell us the risks of what it would be to remove it. But we, of course, just focused on it's just going to come straight out.
Yeah.
There's going to be no problems.
This will be over soon.
Yeah, and even the brain surgeon said to us, there were 2 brain surgeons, they were both very experienced, and they said to us, this is our bread and butter. We do this every day. Don't worry.
Yeah. I can imagine that gives you a bit of hope at the time.
Yeah, it did. And they said to us that, that they do it every day. They told us it would be about a 5 or 6 hour operation, but they also told us, I think it might have been the second day we were there, that it was malignant. Wow. Or that they suspected it was malignant, most likely, but they wouldn't know until it came out.
Yeah.
And so we were just hoping it wasn't malignant, because that meant radiation, chemotherapy, all that. But they said to us, the position it is, the shape it is from the scan, we think it is malignant. So we want to prepare you for that. And so we had to fill in all this paperwork for that to kick in immediately, because a medulloblastoma, which is a type of brain tumour it was, is extremely aggressive. Very aggressive. And it was a matter of, we've got to get onto this. So there was no room to say, oh, should we consider other therapies or, anything like that. It was just, this has to happen immediately.
Yeah, I guess it's a moment where you come together as a family and you living life, going through your day-by-day emotions, having your own roles, and then all of a sudden you all just come together and, this is what we're working towards now.
Yeah, and I don't think we really questioned it. Brendan and I were just trusting. We were at PCH, which is an amazing hospital. We're so lucky to have that hospital. Brand new children's hospital in Perth.
Yeah.
Some of the best doctors work there.
Beautiful nurses.
It's amazing. We trusted where we were.
Yes.
We knew we were in a good spot. We'd met all these doctors with these credentials, which were amazing. So we of course we trusted the process. So Delphi went in for this huge surgery. And it was just so surreal, because Brendan and I didn't know what to do with ourselves. Once she went in, it was sort of like, okay, our daughter's having her brain.
As parents, you never imagine you would ever go through something like that.
Yeah, having her back of her head, they literally cut her open from here to here and open her up, and it's just something you don't wish upon it. It's the most surreal experience. And so she was in hospital for 6 months. When she first came home, what was sort of the biggest challenges, I guess, you faced your new world as a family in the first few weeks or the first few months? How did you adapt to that? What happened was that she had the operation, and it was successful in that they'd got out 100% of the tumour, which is what they wanted, because it's so aggressive. It would just grow back, like that they've seen again and again with this type of tumour. It just grows back. And if you don't, so you have to get it all out. So it ended up being a 12-hour operation.
12
and
hours.
They did get it all out, which is great. And then the challenge came, because from there, if everything had gone well, she would have just woken up. And yes, she would have gone into chemo and radiation, but she didn't wake up. She went into, it's called posterior fossa syndrome, and basically it's brain injury. They did tell us there was a slim chance of this happening, and they don't know why it happens. But I mean, they say that, but I mean, of course it happens. There's so many nerve endings there. There's,
you're talking about the brain, the spine, the head.
The brain stem, and the cerebella, which is that little part at the back of your brain, which is responsible for balance, coordination, speech, all your sort of high-functioning physical movements.
But during that 12-hour operation, you were never thinking anything like this could be affected. It was just, we've got to remove this tumour, no worries, do everything you can to get it completely out, and expecting that when you came home, it'd be maybe a bit of a recovery, but everything would go back to normal eventually.
Absolutely. Yeah, they sort of painted a picture that she'd be in hospital for maybe a week or so, that then she would go home and we'd prepare for the chemo radiation journey. But after about 5 days, that was really strange. I don't remember even who gave us the paperwork, because so many people were coming and going. Someone came in and put this paperwork in front of us which said what you need to know about posterior fossa syndrome. And I read it and I thought, God, what am
I reading?
What am I reading? And then gradually, more doctors were coming in. And with posterior fossa syndrome, you can't talk, you can't move. You're basically in a glass jar. Her frontal cortex was completely intact. Her memories, her thoughts,
her feelings,
everything. She was there, but she couldn't move.
Yeah, so it affects your speech. So it affects your speech, affects your limbs, affects your movement. She has to learn. She has to learn to do that.
Nothing.
Couldn't blink.
Nothing.
No.
She was just like a living doll.
Something you never expected.
Yeah, just just heartbreaking.
And so how did that affect then now this new journey, your day-to-day life coming home with
Well,
Delphi?
it took 3 months. They kept telling us she's going to wake up, she's going to wake up, she's going to start moving, and we just kept waiting and praying every day that she would. And we just sat beside her in hospital every day for weeks and weeks and weeks. She finally started to move a little bit, and that was the reason she couldn't come home. I mean, there's just no way we could have cared for her, and she needed so much medication and all sorts of different things. She had to go through all her radiation in that state where she had to be wheeled in and it was just awful. It was really a horrible time. So by the time she got home, she was really still needing 24/7 care. She still does in lots of ways. Yeah. It's because it's nerve damage, it's permanent. Permanent damage. Yeah. So she now can move her limbs now. That she slowly got some movement back, and she can now move her arms, move her legs. She's actually quite strong, but the brain stem has affected her ability to weight bear, so she can't stand or crawl. Yeah. She just fall over. There's no sense of balance.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's been the hardest part of her having to learn how to re-walk and, use her limbs?
Yeah. We've sort of got to the point where we were told that she would walk again, but we've realised the extent of her injury. And we've actually just finished iRehab, which is their rehab program, and that's their kind of way, and going on to NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance scheme.
Yes, scheme.
Where she's at, and basically, she still can't stand. She can't weight bear, which means that what they're saying to us is that she probably won't walk again, which is heartbreaking, and it's taken a long time to really accept that, especially because even when she couldn't move, they said to us, don't worry, she's going to come back, she's going to come back, she's going to come. Yeah. They try and keep up your hopes, I think.
And comeback is back to what it was previously, like you're expecting she's going to be able to walk and to run like she always did.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been a huge part of the grief process is that, she won't be able to do the things that she used to do. Yeah. Part of the injury as well as a speech impediment and a facial palsy, so half her face is drooped down. Yeah. So a massive physical disability that she has to come to terms with.
Yeah. Has there been any moments with Delphi that have, given you a lot of hope during her recovery?
Or
definitely. Memorable sort of achievements that's happened? Yeah. These are the things at the times that keep you going. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are. I mean, it's so interesting that what you learn about the body because there's voluntary and involuntary movement. So Delphi lost her voluntary movement. So she couldn't just do something like do what she wanted. Yeah. But laughing is involuntary.
Oh, yeah.
And we realised this when I think it was about 6 or 7 weeks after her main operation. She had to have an MRI. And one of the nurses told a joke and she laughed.
Yeah. It's like it comes from the heart, comes from the soul.
It's totally involuntary.
It's involuntary.
And that was such a beautiful thing.
How beautiful.
And I think at that point I was really grieving. I thought I'd lost her completely.
No.
And Brendan rang me and said, Delphi just laughed. Oh. And I was just laughing and crying and just like, oh my God, my girl.
She's there. Yeah, she's there. Inside. Oh, that almost gave me chills. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that.
And then we kept seeing that. And I think that was probably when she started to come back to the surface a little bit. Around that 6 weeks, 7 weeks, because then after that, her grandfather made her laugh, and then we started to see these involuntary movements. So her body was responding involuntary to the things, and then probably around 10, 11 weeks, she started to make her own voluntary movements of, like we've got it all on film.
Oh, how
like
beautiful,
the first time she moved her little finger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The whole time, though, she's been amazing. She's just accepted everything so well.
What has surprised you the most about her resilience and about her strength?
She just blows us away every day. It's only just recently she's really probably realised the extent of her disability, but through this whole thing, and it's been now 20 months, she's just really stayed in the moment with it and not she's not approaching it like this whole existential, oh my God, I can't
Look
walk
what's
anymore.
happened to me.
Look for me.
Yeah.
She's just always gone, oh yeah, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And just accepted it. And she always interacted so beautifully with the nurses and
a testament to her nature and who she is on the inside.
Yeah, I remember the first Christmas day we were in hospital, living there still. And she just made it such a beautiful day because she'd been given so much chocolate, of course. And she let me know, I can't remember how she let me know, but she let me know that she wanted to give them to everyone. And so we were walking around the hospital, this little girl, and she was just handing out all her chocolates and lollies to everyone and just making everyone smile. It was just like, oh my God, you're so sweet.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do you now talk to your daughter? How do you talk to Delphi about what she's been through? Like, obviously you said she surprised you and like she probably has all that strength already on the inside, it seems. And she has that attitude that's taking her through. But is there any words of encouragement you've given her, or how did you approach the situation?
Oh, it's just been every day. I mean, when she was semi-conscious or where she was, we were just talking to her constantly, reading to her. I read her all the fairy tale books, and as she recovered, I just kept, just constant words of encouragement, and bringing her home, just reminding her of who she is and what she can do, and even now today, I say to her, you can do anything you want. If you want to climb Mount Everest, we'll carry you up Mount Everest. You know what I mean?
We're your family. Like, you have got us through thick and thin, no matter what happens.
Yeah, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
Just because you can't do this and this doesn't mean you can't do it in a different way.
Yeah.
And she has moments of recognising her limitations and it being very upsetting for her, but like kids, they just get over it.
No, they get over it, yeah.
And
what I've found through, hosting these podcasts and speaking with mothers is that it's our children that end up actually teaching us and making us more strong. Yeah. So that's,
It sure is. Yeah, kids just, they don't dwell. They just move on. So
they move on,
They, I mean, we encourage her all the time too. And we're at a place where we're understanding her situation clearer, and it's still revealing itself day to day because we know that she will make small improvements from where she is now. What she can do now.
Yes, yeah.
How she can have agency for herself in the world.
Yes, yeah.
Because her mind's all still there.
Her mind is there, yeah.
She's just physically disabled.
Physically regaining her strength And how's your sort of since this has happened, your daily life changed? Like, has there been changes for you and Brendan in terms of work and for Tasman in terms of school? Like, is it impacted your just daily routine or tasks a lot?
Oh, yeah, completely. I think the first 6 months, Brendan and I didn't work at all. We just... we just needed to focus on Delphi.
100%.
She was so unwell. And the community, our communities, our school community, soccer, my art community, work communities, especially our school community, just looked after us. Our family, of course, were amazing. So we were just able to really focus on Delphi. Everything dropped.
Yeah.
And Tasman sort of folded into that as well.
Yes, yeah. And it puts it in perspective all of a sudden of what really matters and what are the important things that you got to focus on, and all of a sudden what actually doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
And how much you don't need and you can let go of when it comes down to family and health.
Yeah. My work were amazing. Curtin University, they shifted things around for me so I could go into my long service leave, which was luckily about due.
Oh, good.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Everything changed.
Yeah.
And, I'm an artist. I mostly work from home. So that I had a big exhibition coming up and they let me delay that for 12 months. Yeah. Everyone of course, made such, everyone just did what they could to help.
Yes. You'd say the biggest adjustment in your life was obviously taking that step back from work.
Yeah, huge
and maybe
step back from work.
Extracurricular activities and all of that.
All that. Just, but we still, Tasman, our son, of course, teenager, very busy. So Brandon and I would swap 2 days on and off at hospital, or sometimes it would stretch out. But there was always someone with Delphi. Her grandparents were always there as well. So we needed to come home and make sure Tasman was getting to soccer and school and everything. So it was a hard time.
How was he coping with it all?
Oh, he's amazing. He's such a good big brother. He's just...
Yeah, I've met him. He's a beautiful boy.
He's just a
beautiful
legend.
boy. You're
He's
so
just
lucky.
an old soul.
Yeah.
And he's just so beautiful with her. He just cheers her up, just being in the room with her, playing games with her. He just treats her like normal.
Yeah.
You know, she's
not... She is normal.
Yeah, she is normal.
She is normal.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he just always makes her feel really special.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything's changed in lots of ways, but it resettles after a while. And I'm doing the tiniest bit of lecturing at uni, and I'm just an artist, which is great, and caring for Delphi. So
you're not just an artist. You're an amazing artist, amazing mum. What's been sort of the biggest, would you say, support for you during this time? Was it your family?
Oh, family, of course. I mean, I think family they'll just do anything they can. I mean, we were really lucky that Delphi's grandparents lived in Subiaco, just 10 minutes from the hospital, and they're very close with Delphi. So they were just there. They were just there. When we needed a break, because we needed to stay strong for Delphi in the hospital room, so they could, if we were just plain exhausted or needed a break, they could step in, and we all took it in turns in maintaining that positivity for her, because there were times when, we would just collapse in the grief of it all. I mean, it was just so full on what she had to go through, and the amount of, I think I mentioned before, she's had like over 70 general anaesthetics. Like she's had so many.
I can't believe that, 70.
Yeah, and all it's pretty confronting. Childhood cancer is very confronting, especially brain tumour, brain injury. It's very full on.
So having that support from your family, I think as well, I hear a lot of times where, you know, people want to ask for help, but then sometimes they also feel like they don't want to be a burden on their family, or they're too scared to ask for help. But the fact that you've had people that have been willing and family members that have, dropped everything must make a huge difference.
Financially, our family helped out hugely. My parents helped out massively with that. Just filling those gaps, because we had to take those steps back. Our school put on a meal plan for us, so we had food, like beautiful food, constantly. We were overfed in hospital because everyone would think, okay, they obviously need chocolate. So we would just every day. I mean, we had so much food. It was ridiculous.
I love that. I've never heard of that before. The school actually putting on food. That's amazing.
It's like a meal plan, wonderful. A meal train, it's called.
Yeah. Because of course the last thing you're thinking, you don't want to think about is, what am I got to go buy food and bring it to the hospital? Do I have to go home and cook and make food and bring it here? Yeah. And it's those little things that take that weight off your shoulder.
Yeah. And PCH also have an amazing support. The Ward 1A, it's called, where the oncology ward for children. It's like it's more like a home.
Yeah.
There's a kitchen there and a lounge, and it's It's got a beautiful soft environment. All the mums and parents there would support each other. Like you'd go down to the kitchen to make a cup of tea, and there's always someone there to talk to and say how what's happening today, and compare notes about some of the most horrific things you could never talk about with other people.
Yeah. That's amazing. What sort of resources or support systems do you think maybe were more accessible to people out there? Is there anything you'd like?
Oh, well, straight away we were approached by Red Kite. They were amazing. So they gave financial support early on, and social work help, in that we all had someone to talk to if we needed. The hospital also gave us that.
So just so I know, because Red Kite, is it financial help or just support, emotional help, or what do they help with?
They did give, it's vouchers. You get vouchers.
Right, okay. Yeah,
and then there's another one called Brain... gosh, I'm so sorry, I can't remember.
It's okay,
but
it's more so, like vouchers.
There's another one that gave us, I think, $500 cash, and just little things like that, which all help. Definitely the hospital was the biggest one, PCH. It's called Kids for Cancer Support Group, KCSG. Have you heard of them?
Oh, yeah, KCSG. Yeah, they're fantastic.
So they're all incredible. Mums and dads, volunteers of kids that have been through cancer, and they basically would turn up every Friday night with a stack of, like, pizzas, just this huge stack of pizzas, and take pizzas to the kids. And they'd also have a big trolley of toys, and they just go around all the rooms and let the kids You know, it just brightened up their afternoon.
Brightens up their day, that's right.
Yeah. They were amazing. And they would also stock up the fridge full of food. So, we, as we said, we were overfed. Just, there's always food there. And the other one is the Hunters Home Group. Oh, no, Hunters Foundation, I think it's called.
Yes,
Hunters Foundation.
Yeah.
They did things like they would come and clean our house for us because
just
that was
those
just
little...
not something you're going to have time to do when you're living in a hospital.
No, yeah. So it almost seems like all these groups and these like support systems is what makes the biggest difference.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be like helping with home, helping with food, helping with just being, bringing the kids toys, and that's really it's the acts of kindness.
Yeah. The volunteers at the hospital, the Starlight Foundation. Yeah. There was also a puppeteering company that would regularly come and just do these puppets for the kids. Yeah. The Starlight people at PCH are amazing.
Yeah.
Delphi loved when they came around, and they would come every day and just dance and sing and be silly and play jokes.
And make her laugh.
And volunteers would drop in. I mean, the door would open constantly. There was no chance of rest.
Which is what you want in a way, just because you just want to keep yourself busy and your mind occupied.
Yeah.
And how has the Build Now Foundation helped you?
Build Now. Yeah. That's why I'm here. I to thank you guys. So Build Now Foundation have just changed our lives because Delphi can't walk or stand, but she needs a lot of therapy to keep herself strong, to keep herself moving and fluid. And I think it was the KCSG actually who put our name forward to you guys and said, because she said, would you be interested in the Build Now Foundation approaching you to help you out at home when Delphi comes home? I said, of course. Not really knowing what to expect. I thought it might mean a ramp here or a rail there or I don't know.
Not a big...
and then she said to me, no, think big. I want you to think really big. And I'm like, okay. And so it ended up being this aqua gym.
Yeah, I know, like a hydrotherapy pool. Yeah, aqua gym. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Just beautiful. I'm sure you'll link to pictures of Delphi or something with this. But, it's this giant aqua gym which was installed in our backyard. We didn't have to lift a finger, and it's a proper hydrotherapy aqua gym. So it's quite big. It's like 4.5 metres long, 2.5 metres wide. Delphi loves the water. She was born in the water. She loved to swim. Mm-hmm. She can swim.
Yeah, she can swim.
Because she can float.
Yeah.
She can float, and she can't quite swim yet. I wouldn't quite say that, but she can float. She can she can dive down. She's doing, backflips. And she can walk because she doesn't have any balance to stand, but in the water, because the water sort of comes up to here, she can walk, which is just amazing.
And that's what I love about the foundation, because they're all focused on just creating, building spaces and creating spaces, but every child's circumstance is different. And like you said, it might not be, of course, a ramp is going to be really helpful or a renovation to a bathroom, but in Delphi's case, we really wanted to help her build her muscle strength and give her that movement back. Yeah. And to know that that's now helping her.
Oh, it's
and that
so much.
It gives her something to look forward to at home. That's what matters.
Yeah. She swims every single day, and it's because it's an aqua gym. It's it's heated to the temperature that she likes to have it on. Every single day. She got it in I think October last year. So through summer it was like 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah,
and we can just see the improvement in her. Her muscle tone. She just looks so much healthier, so much better because she does rehab frequently, but this is swimming just works your whole body, and it's fun.
And it gives her that confidence. No, I'm doing this by myself.
Yeah, and it's like, it's my pool.
It's my pool, this is mine. Yeah, no one's helping me here.
I can do this. It gives her ownership as well, that this is her pool. She can invite her friends over to have fun with her.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's so good to hear. And when I know the Build Now Foundation heard your story, they just thought, what can we do to help? So it's amazing to hear that it's changed Delphi's life and your life as a family as well. What are, I guess, some things that you wish, Kelsey, people knew about Delphi and your journey?
Oh, I think it's so hard to get across what it's really like. I think having a child with a disability, I think it'd be different if your child's born that way and you get used to it. For us, it was such a shock out of the blue So I think we're still coming to terms with what it means. We're still coming to terms with what it means for us as a family to have a disabled child and what that's going to look like for us and how we can do things. I think that a really important thing I'm starting to realise is that people look at Delphi and think that she's mentally disabled, which is sad, and I can understand the plight of disabled people that are discriminated against in that sense. You know, the way they treated Delphi the other day in a shopping centre, I could tell that they thought Delphi was mentally disabled, and she's not. At all.
She's actually the opposite.
She's physically
disabled. That's right.
So that's something that Delphi's going to have to face her entire life, I imagine, because of her facial palsy, her speech impediment, and the fact that she's in a wheelchair. She looks physically disabled. So my thing to say to everyone is just don't assume, just ask.
Yeah.
You know, rather than treating the person that appears to be disabled like they're mentally disabled, just treat them like normal because they want to be treated. Delphi wants to be treated like normal. She just wants to be treated like every other 11-year-old girl. Yeah.
Because she is still an 11-year-old girl and that has those same feelings and those same, you know, she's still growing and learning and she's
still
just
wants
like us.
To be that fun little colourful, sprightly little girl and have the same opportunities. And for her, she can't possibly understand when other kids have opportunities that she can't have them as well. So the way that the world is changing to make sure that disabled people do have access to things, I really can understand that now.
Yes.
Being on this side of it, you know, when we go places where, you know, there's just no way of her getting even in that place because of the stairs or whatever. And I mean, I know it's not always possible and we can't retrofit the world, but even just the way we think about disabled people, whenever I watch a film now, I'm looking for disabled people. Where's the person in the wheelchair? Or, you know, when I'm hearing or in any kind of stories or anything like that, I'm always thinking, where's the disabled people? I know there's lots of them. There's lots of them.
That's right. Do you think that it starts at home? Do you think it starts at schools, or where does the education start?
Yeah, I think
to
it spirals
normalise
out.
it.
I think it spirals out from certainly in schools. I think Delphi School has been really amazing. I mean, whenever people meet Delphi, they're blown away by her because she's got such a good sense of humour, and they've learnt. Everyone at school just treats Delphi like normal, and I'm sure that those kids have learnt to treat a disabled person that way.
That's good to hear.
I think it spirals out from people, but it's like someone said to me, you know, once upon a time, disabled kids like Delphi would sort of be hidden away, or they might not even have the opportunity to go to school, or they might just, you know,
they're segregated.
It's so different now. We think ahead and we think, okay, how can Delphi be part of this?
Yeah.
How can Delphi participate in this? And
how can we
find ways to do things?
Yeah. That's really good to hear. Yeah. What sort of message would you like to share with others that are going through maybe similar challenges, a parent that has, you know, just found out that their child's got a diagnosis, or is there any...
Oh, I could write a book on this, and I think I will. I think you just have to stay in the moment. I think you can't catastrophize. You just have to stay right there in that moment and just love. I think love is the answer. I think every time that the hurt would be too much, we would just come back to love.
Love, yeah.
Love between us, love for Delphi, love from Delphi. You know, just stay in that place of there's enough love here that we can get through anything. And not thinking too far ahead. You know, I catch myself still thinking what ifs of too far ahead. There's no point. We can make plans but stay here and make sure that there's just so much joy and love and laughter around us that it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You know, even when we do have really bad days when because of Delphi's brain injury, she can have very bad days. And that makes it hard for everyone, but we just keep coming back to that. We've got this, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how can friends, family, or maybe even strangers that might hear this and be listening to the podcast support families going through similar experiences?
I think these organisations like Build Now and like Red Kite and the Hero Hunter Foundation and KCSG, they're all amazing. They support families that are going through these things. If you have the opportunity to donate, it doesn't matter if it's just a little bit.
No. It
just helps so much, and it feels good to give. I would say, just take notice of that. I think able-bodied people, and I was guilty, I was one of them, you just don't realise. You're just striving through life and you don't realise that there's a whole world of people going through so much pain and difficulty in hospitals, kids going through so much. Those kids and those families definitely need support, and we're so lucky to live in a country that we can do something.
We are so blessed, that's right, where we've got resources around us. I think
So
people
lucky.
just need to, I guess, have that confidence to go, okay, well, where do I start? Where do I look? What are the little things I can do? And even if it isn't a donation, like how can I, not have that stigma and do you wish more people maybe would just be kind?
Be kind. I think that's a huge one. Just be kind. You just don't know what people are going through. You don't know what the person crossing the street that nearly ran you over, because you just don't know what people are going through. Like road rage and stuff, you just don't. We're all just going through life.
Yeah.
We're all got so many things that we're going through, and I think you just always have to pass on that kindness no matter what. And it just goes a long way. Like when you're having a bad day, like some of the stuff you've been through, and a stranger is kind to you for no reason, it can just really be such a difference.
Yeah, it can change your whole perspective.
Yeah,
and
just to give you that bit of heart oomph that's like, the world's okay. We're going to be okay. Yeah.
That's so good. And going through something like this obviously changes the way, like you said, the way you see life. What's something that maybe you cherish now a little bit more that you may have, say, taken for granted, pre her diagnosis?
Yeah, I always thought I was a really present parent. And I probably was, but now I'm hyper present, I guess you would say. I just cherish my moments with my children. I mean, so cliche, but when I'm with them, I'm so with them. I'm just with my kids and my family. I try to be.
Yes,
World is a distracting place, but my time with Delphi is very precious, and just very grateful for my family, my abilities, my opportunities. It's so easy to take for granted how easy it is for me to get around when I think right now my child literally cannot stand up.
Yeah.
Just very grateful for the very small things.
Yeah. I can imagine also going through something like this, as hard as it sounds, puts you in you have to think to yourself, well, I still have my daughter here. She's still here, and now every moment is precious. Yeah. So watching movies, playing outside, being in the pool, it's those moments that you'll never take for granted again. Yeah.
Just the silly little moments.
Because she's home after 6 months, after that was in hospital, she's back with you.
Yeah, just laughing, silly stuff. When she's I always say to Brandon, when she's happy, I'm happy. Finding ways that I know things that she'll enjoy and laugh at, which is pretty easy. She's a happy little girl.
She is, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing considering what she's been through. Staying in the moment.
Extremely strong. She's got I've met Delphi, had the pleasure of meeting her, and she's got such a kind and soft nature, but she's also extremely strong and determined. Yeah. So she inspires me, and
she's a little soft punk, I call her.
Yeah, soft punk. I like that. And so how do you, when, say, Delphi has a little win, how do you celebrate those little wins with her? Are there any sort of real recent victories? Obviously, she's made a lot of progress in the hydrotherapy pool, but how do you celebrate those moments now?
All sorts of ways. I think I say to Delphi, every day is like Christmas now, because we live like that. It's like every day is Christmas. We don't leave things on the shelf. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like really take the opportunity to have the fun, eat the dessert, celebrate, all that kind of stuff.
Live each day, celebrate life.
It's so cliche, but you just have to. I mean,
it's not cliche. Yeah, it's actually the secret.
It is the secret. It is so the secret. And She's still so young, so I'm just trying to, impart to her, teach her, hopefully, how to ride these waves of emotion that she's going to have going through adolescence with where she's at. And that's not always easy, but yeah, trying to teach her that, to stay in the moment. Yeah.
If you could use 3 words to describe Delphi, what would they be? There's probably like 10 words.
Yeah. But gorgeous, determined, heroic.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, she is. She's heroic.
Yeah.
Look, thank you so much, Kelsey, for sharing your story with us. We really are so grateful. You are so inspiring. You and your family and your daughter are incredibly strong. The love and resilience you've shown through this journey is something that I know so many people will connect with hearing this. Your story, sometimes you would think it's about like a struggle, but it's actually not. It shows hope, perseverance, and like you were saying, the power of love. Love really is the most powerful thing.
Sure is.
And yeah, I think I like how, if there's something that we can take away, showing love and showing kindness goes such a long way and can actually build someone up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that by sharing this, you've raised so much awareness and also given strength to other families and parents that may be going through similar challenges. So thank you. It's been an honour.
Thank you so much, Build Now, for Delphi's pool and for giving me the opportunity to talk about it. And I'm so grateful to you guys. You're awesome.
A pleasure. To everyone listening, if you're moved by what you've heard today and you want to get involved or hear more about how you can help, please visit the Build Now Foundation's website. Every bit of support, big or small, like we were saying, makes a difference. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to sharing more stories that motivate and inspire, because together I know we can help build a better world for these incredible kids and their families. Thanks, Kelsey.